It's the show you look forward to more than any other every week on the Alive and Social Network. I know this to be true, well, with the exception of maybe Foodie Friday. I'm just saying, I got to get the self-promotion in wherever I
Foodie Friday,
can.
I just got hungry.
And see, that's what happens with that show. But here, it's Mortgages and BS with Tom Smith. Hello, Tom.
Hey, BT, I got an idea. Since that was so exciting about me getting hungry, we should find a place to go make some food for one of our shows.
Let's do a Mortgages and BS and Foodie Friday type combo. We could do a combo show.
We could call it, what's that? Banana Shakes.
Yeah, we could call ourselves the Banana Shakes. I like that. We
there's
got
a
a
band
band
name.
name already. This is good. Doing a Foodie Friday and Mortgages and BS show is like burgers and fries.
Goes together.
It's like pie and ice cream. It's a lot of things that it's comboed up with. It's wonderful. That's great.
It's like hot dogs and mayonnaise.
Yeah. Now what just happened? Did you hit your head sometime during the
I don't
course
know.
of
It's
the
just
day
being a little
today?
weird because I think mortgages and food going together a little weird too. So
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, though, I did have some corn and mayonnaise at Grand Old Day this past week because that's the Mexican corn deal. Have you ever had Mexican corn? I love the Mexican sweet corn. Yeah.
The one I've had is there's a place down in Rosemont and called Las Tortillas, and they do this corn, and there's like a melted cheese and spices on it. And I can sit there, and I hate to tell you this, but I could probably sit there and eat 8, 10, 12 years of this corn.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And I've heard more of the mayonnaise, and this has got probably something like that in it, too.
It's the mayo that makes everything cling to it. Yes, you do put the cheese on it. You put the spices on it. Yeah, so we're talking the same thing.
The only problem with it is maybe next day or a day later, but
Oh yeah, no. There's an after effect that we'll just leave for another time, and when the microphones aren't on.
for the lazy gardeners.
That's right. Well, fertilizer, is that what you're talking about? We've got a lot of manure on that show, but we've got a lot of BS to get to on this show. In addition,
I can tell
to
by
talking-
Bobby's mic too. So that's
Yeah,
right.
there you go. A lot of BS and mortgage stuff. And we're going to do a little narrative here for the next 2 weeks. We're welcoming into the Alive and Social Network studios Jackie Nelson. She's the general manager of a social media company here in the area. Just moved back from this latest run. And welcome to the studio, Jackie.
Hi, VT. Thank you.
Good to have you. So you moved most recently from Pittsburgh.
Correct.
And then lived in L.A. for a pretty good stretch before that.
That's right.
And this is your home zone here.
This
Am I
is
right?
home. This
so
is
now
home.
moving back, and then so she's renting now, and maybe looking to buy. So I thought what we'd do here with you this week, and then with Shannon Paul, local comedian, host of one of the shows here, the Geek Show on the Alive and Social Network. I also work with Shannon at Go 96.3. Anyhow, Shannon's a single mom. She's got a son with autism, and she's fine with me bringing that up because that's a proud part of who she is, autism mom and everything like that. So that's all cool. That's a part of her narrative. And so we're going to do the same thing with Shannon that we'd like to start with you today, and we'll continue with her next week, is maybe, more or less, and we're not going to be strict about this, but kind of chart a course. Get some ideas from you.
Sure.
About, okay, we're renting now, we want to do this, we want to do that. Here's what our family looks like. Here's where our income is now, again, without you revealing only as much as you want to. And then where we might be income, my husband is, he works, we got this. And then Shannon, we'll get another story similar to that with her, with a single income, and a kid and all that. And so we'll do that with these two guys this week and next. And then we'll have you both come back in like 3 months and maybe chart the course of this. And then 6 months, kind of keep an eye, and we'll just check in. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah, sounds good. It'll keep me on
and
task.
I promise we won't share your social security number, your phone numbers, your emails, anything that is privileged information.
Oh, Tom is a mortgage expert.
I am?
Only he will promise that. Only he will.
Sounds good.
So anyhow, I'm sorry about stealing your wallet earlier before the show, and I'll make it up to you somehow. But we got a little BS to get to along the way here. First note of BS, Tommy, I want to bring up is a name. Let's see if you can name who it is. And you may have seen this in the news already today. We're doing the Mortgages and BS show on June 10th. Virgil Runnels. Virgil Runnels.
I saw two names in the news today, Fagin and Dusty Rhodes.
Which Fagin?
From Oliver, the original Oliver.
Oh, okay.
And then I saw the Dusty Rhodes thing just before I took off. I saw that. And I was
Dusty
like,
Rhodes.
And that made me think way back, Sergeant Slaughter, all this stuff.
God, yeah, all those WWE guys back in the day.
I saw Dusty in St. Paul back in 88, 89 probably.
Civic Center?
Civic Center.
Yeah.
I was down there. Slaughter was there, the whole thing. I was down there with some realtors, of course, having a couple beers. It was so cool to watch in person because we had really good seats. It was a small area.
Right.
And you can tell how
So-
real it is when you're that close.
So was it Civic Center or Roy Wilkins?
I'm
Might have been Roy, because
It was
that's
on
a pretty big
it was-
venue.
I swear we were on the bottom of the hill, so I swear it was Civic Center.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, but it probably was.
And it was so cool because, like I said, you can tell how real it is and everything like that. But these guys came out and they were interacting with the people in the audience and stuff too. There couldn't have been more than 300 of us in the room. Then years later, I went to one of these deals like at the Target Center, WWF. You're up in nosebleed section. I wanted to go back to the other one. It's just so much cooler. It was so. I mean, I think Gagne was probably even still back there. I know Perfect's dad was there. Larry the Axe was there.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But yeah, Dusty. I mean, that's. You know how old you got to be to remember that.
I went to high school with Mr. Perfect,
Did you really?
Yeah.
I drank beers with Mr. Perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. I said exactly because all those times when you mentioned drinking beers with anybody, it never surprises me. So I just automatically answer exactly. Of course you did.
Well, I met him the first time I met him and Larry the Axe was actually at the Robbinsdale Muni. Probably early 90s. I was in there with a realtor.
Yeah.
That was in that area. And we met him. And Larry the Axe.
Because Larry's a realtor now. He's still a realtor this day.
He's up in Zimmerman,
Yep.
And Larry kept saying I looked like Kent Herbeck at the time. And I was
I
getting
can
him
see
shipped
that.
back.
I can see that.
And then I would see these guys at Tequila Berries all the time up in that Anoka Blaine area. Every
Tequila
time
berries and brandy berries. They
Oh
were
my
the
God!
co-owners.
I would see them there
Yeah.
all the time. And you know what? The two guys, when you sit and talk to them, they were really nice guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are. It's unfortunate what happened with his son. I mean, you feel bad about that.
Yeah.
Now he's got somebody like Dusty was a friend of his,
Yeah.
probably. I mean,
Well, it's unfortunate what happened with both Larry's son and also ravishing Rick Rude. We all went to high
my
school
God,
together.
that's right.
Rick
I
Rude,
forgot about
Rick
that.
Rude. Yeah, and we're all Robbinsdale grads. Yeah, absolutely.
and
Yeah.
you didn't go into wrestling, BT?
My dad was a wrestler. I chose not to. I was a theater wussy. So I played wrestlers on stage. That's how that worked. Because I was.
You could have been a very theatrical wrestler.
I was. Trust me. Like that movie. Who was it? Wasn't it Henry Winkler that did that movie the one time where he played, sort of a gorgeous George? Wrestler,
I know what you're talking about.
That
Yep,
movie
yep,
I'm talking about. Yeah. And he was an actor, but he played a
not
wrestler
more like
in that movie.
not more like that one where Paul
what I
Blart
was.
in, where he did the thing that one recently.
Yeah.
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 Where he's a teacher.
Kevin James was in. Yeah.
Teacher, and he decides he wants to be a wrestler to raise money for the school. And
I like- I like that you called the actor Paul Blart.
I did Paul Blart Mall Cop. It's sitting in my head because Mall Cop 2 just came out.
So Dusty Rhodes, famed from his long run in the WWE, born Austin, Texas, and passed away today in Orlando, Florida. Part of that whole wrestling contingent.
All those guys with blonde locks back then, too. God.
I went to, you kick yourself when you do this, and I generally promise myself not to do this sort of thing because my dad would do this. We'd go to the double feature at the 100 Twin or the Lucky Twin or the Starlight, the ones that were in the northwest suburbs where I grew up. The point is double feature, and damn it, before the end of the second show was done, Dad had to leave, because he wanted to beat the crowd, and it was getting late. I'm not going to say that it wasn't, but we always missed the end of every second, and so why were we even watching it? If we're going to not see the dramatic conclusion, Dad, no, and we're watching the screen as we're leaving on the highway and trying to figure out the end of the movie. No, Dad. So I go to this Twins game last night, take the whole family, daughter Lydia, first time at Target Field, and so seventh inning stretch comes around. Twins are down 7-1 against Kansas City. They're not playing well, so it's like, guys, what do you think? Leave seventh inning stretch, okay? Yeah, everybody said okay. They were fine. They'd had enough of the Twins experience that evening, enough of the Target Field experience. We're going to listen to the rest of the game on Go 96.3 driving home.
Great station, by the way.
Thank you, my friend. So we're doing this, but we missed the real action last night in spite of the Twins' loss. Torrey Hunter, after we leave, seventh inning stretch, so the last chunk of the game there, Torrey and the umpire that evening, last night, was awful. Everybody was complaining about him. And so Torrey called strike, third strike for Torrey, and he just got pissed. And he took, he's yelling at the ump, and he's taking off all of his protection gear. We didn't see this. We're only hearing about it afterward because I was my father last night, and we left early.
So did you were you drawing pictures to try to visualize it?
God. So and we had dugout seats, first baseline dugouts. We were right there. So Torrey is going crazy, and he's ripping all this stuff off and slamming it down and arguing. He apparently rips off his jersey, throws that to the ground. Molitor comes out, the skipper comes out. He starts, getting into it. Boom! Hunter's out of the game. Boom! Molitor first ejection as a manager. Boom! They're out, and all the drama's right there, and we would have been right there. We still lost the game, but and there's always footage to see on the YouTubes and such.
That
But
almost
we
sounds
were
like-
right there.
That almost sounds like a swarm
Right
game.
there. It sounds like a what?
A swarm game. Actually, a fight like that, though, we talked about this earlier. The video I just saw today, finally, from a couple days ago in Walmart.
Yeah, so I haven't seen any of it.
Okay.
Tell us about this Walmart fight.
I don't know. Jackie's like, huh? And it's like...
This is the BS part of the show, Jackie.
And I've
We'll
been,
get to-
and I've been hearing about this.
I saw a little bit of it.
Yeah, and you chime in, Jackie. If you've seen any of this stuff, you just chime in there, Jackie.
All right.
Well, so I thought, okay, I got to see what this is. So the video's probably 3-4 minutes. Maybe I'm off on that. But anyway, what it is you see these. There's these two moms. They're in a store at Walmart in Indiana, and you hear the background. They're kind of going at it.
Are you hearing banjo music too, or not?
No, not banjo music, but you could
right.
probably have it.
All right.
But the weird part is they're from Indiana, and you can't understand what they're saying. Don't get me going.
Okay, all right.
And the one lady is in one of those little motorized carts you drive around Walmart
Yeah.
when you're overage, overweight, have
Whatever,
issues,
medical
okay?
issues, whatever. Yeah.
So the guy's filming this, and all of a sudden the lady pops out of this little carry chair thing and takes after the other lady, and they start going to town. I mean, they're banging on each other, throwing each other on the floor.
Now,
and
let
the
me
whole
ask
thing.
you: if you see that somebody's filming it, do you think this is a setup thing, or because usually the fight, the footage begins sort of into the fight because you're not obviously
Right.
filming just somebody with one of those scooter deals. Hey, I'm going to film. This looks like interesting footage. No, it's not. So, what's your vibe on
well,
that?
I don't think it was set up because
All right.
the guy was. You could tell the guy was hearing voices.
Okay,
so
so
he popped
maybe
it on
the-
to get the
oh,
voices.
gotcha,
You're like,
gotcha.
what the heck is going on? This kind of
So
thing.
there was something that led him to say, "Hey, something might unfold here."
But
Gotcha.
the part that led me to believe that it couldn't be set was there was a little boy there, and I don't know how old the kid is. He's probably 4 or 5 years old, and the mom is saying, "Johnny, kick the lady in the effing face and do all this other stuff."
So mom
So one
brings
of
the kid into
into
the
it.
fight.
And the kid's standing on the side going, "This is funny. This is," and people are telling the kid to get away. He goes, "No, I'm going to help my mom," and all this kind of stuff. I don't know what was
terrible.
more disturbing: the two ladies fighting and acting like they were, the fact that the kid was there, and now the kid's got that in his mind, or the people that stood there and watched it.
Yeah, and didn't do anything. You're
The
right,
whole thing is
Tom.
terrible.
Yeah.
And to me, with I get a kick out of some reality TV, but you know what? Think about it. You drive by an accident. People like this stuff. They're entertained by it. Somebody should have stepped in and pulled these two ladies apart because
Yeah.
here's this kid. First of all, what if that kid's mom would have got really hurt or something like that?
Absolutely. And
That
just
would've been
witnessing
horrible.
that. Yeah.
But
yeah.
they're falling into the shells. Stuff's falling. They're hitting each other with
Jeez.
shampoo. I don't know. It was disturbing. And so when you're talking about this deal with Molitor and Tori last night, at least they did it more classy.
Of course, they're just
I mean, we
kicking
could see-
dirt, tearing off
We
clothes,
saw
and
butt
yelling,
crack,
and
crack in this video. Butt
Oh
crack.
my God! No,
Yes.
no.
Walmart butt crack. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess that's every day. My cringe factor goes in reverse order from what you said, but I think we're on the same page. I feel most cringeworthy about the bystanders. I feel second most cringeworthy about the fact that the kid got involved because the kid's 4 or 5 and his mom says to do something he doesn't know, and it's bad enough that he's kicking or doing it and getting into it.
Yeah.
There's a lesson to be learned, but it's second most cringeworthy, and then third, the two of them fighting because that kind of stuff happens. But yeah, the bystander thing always freaks me out, especially when something could be done to just all right, stop. Nobody intervenes. They're just whoa.
Well,
and probably 3/4 of the people you saw footage from one person's phone. 3/4 of the people watching it were doing the same damn thing.
Well, and the one thing that I would say would be weird is, when I went to college, I was a bouncer. And when you break up a fight, it's, you can get hit and stuff like that. Well,
Yeah.
you're breaking up a fight between two females. First of all, I was raised never hit a woman.
Yeah.
So when you break up a fight between two females that are really going at it, you're going to get hurt. So part of me thinks that maybe the people were afraid to step in. But still, in front of the kid,
You gotta do
That's the
something.
problem.
No, you gotta do
this kid's
something.
standing there. The kid's within a foot the whole time, and he's and mom's yelling stuff at him. He's pulling shampoo off the thing and hitting
Yeah.
the lady,
Oh, jeez.
kicking the lady. It just tells me that America and some of its society has lost total.
They've lost all bearing.
They're as bad as the bond market.
Yeah. Spoken like a mortgage guy. Right there, as bad as the bond market. When you were bouncing back in the day, did anyone ever say, well, I'll leave, of course, Kent Herbeck?
Well, they didn't call me Ken Herbeck, but I did have a few guys just offer to leave rather than having to help them. So.
Good for you. Good for you.
But funny part with the Ken Herbeck thing, I got called that more than once. That was the weird part about
I
it.
can see that. I
can see that, too.
see that, especially you some years ago and such, and Kent
Well, I was-
some years ago
yeah,
and such.
Kent and I were both good-looking guys back then.
Exactly. Well, then still now. Come
You know.
on, give yourself some credit. Still now.
I got a better story for you. I'm living here maybe a month. And you remember how
So what timeline? What
timeline is 87.
Okay.
Probably February, March 87. And you know how all the bars on 494 they used to have all
The Strip.
The strip.
Yeah.
And venues.
Yeah, steak and ale.
And they had all the
this and
special
that.
happy hours and stuff. And I went into venues one night with a bunch of the work people, and I wanted to order a beer. And the lady goes, no, we can't serve you tonight. I went, huh? She goes, well, because of the way you behaved last night.
It wasn't you. Yeah.
I'm like, huh? I said, I wasn't here last night. Manager comes over and goes, Mr. Kramer, I'm sorry, we can't serve you. You got in a fight in here last night. I said, Mr. Kramer, I said, here's my ID. She goes, oh, we thought you were Tommy Kramer.
Oh, that's hilarious.
They thought you were Tequila Tommy.
Oh, my God. I was like, are you kidding me? And, of course, then you had the bar across the street where all the Vikings hung out. Yeah. So if I went over there, I thought I'd maybe get a few drinks, but I never could make that work out either. So between being recognized as Kramer and Herbeck, I never got anything free out of it. I mean, so.
Yeah, you only questioned. Nothing free.
Although I have got a free couple drinks for being myself. So.
Well, that'll work. So you got to so like Bill Murray and Caddyshack. And I think we've invoked that before. You got that going for you, which ain't bad.
I love Bill Murray.
Oh, that Carl the Gardner role. It's something that just is a part of culture now in America.
Well, and to think he improvised over half of it.
I know, isn't that great? That's just the best.
All right, we're babbling again.
All right, let me do this real quick as we segue then to spending some time with Jackie and maybe formulating a little game plan on the Mortgages and BS show for Jackie.
Hi.
Renting now, maybe owning, we'll find out. Listen up for Foodie Friday every week here on the Alive and Social Network. Yours truly and my lovely daughter Lydia bring you a lot of the great food folks here in the Twin Cities, community folks, all those that are attached to the hospitality industry and more. Foodie Friday, we post that. Hence the name of the show.
I just wish there were leftovers.
Every Friday on the Alive and Social Network. And Monday through Friday, you can hear the Twin Cities Hit Show. And they do a thing every morning, 9:30 till 10:30, and you can listen to it live. And, of course, listen to the podcast thereafter. But they're also doing some very special Thursday 5 p.m. shows from the Chart House in Lakeville. So go visit those guys, hang out on the deck, or if it's a little spritzy like we got today, the show's moved inside. Either way, it's a great hang spot. Chart House in Lakeville, Twin Cities Hit Show, Thursdays 5 p.m. Again, listen to the show live, listen to the podcast thereafter. Better yet, join Rusty Gatenby and the Twin Cities Hit Show crew and hang out and have some fun live.
I'm going to throw in a bonus. I mean, the Chart House is probably about 10 minutes from me.
And my pal Josh, owner there, great guy.
Great restaurant, great food, great location. That patio, I mean, get down there. I mean, heck, you know what? If it wasn't raining today, I'd probably go down there myself.
I'm hearing you, man. I'm hearing you.
I bet they have beer there.
I've got an event to do for the
American.
I've got an event to do tonight for the American Women in Media.
You are going though.
Yeah, and otherwise, I'd think about joining in.
That sounds cool. That you were telling me about that earlier. That sounds really cool. That the other night.
The organization's been around forever. It used to be called American Women in Radio and Television, and then I guess with digital media and other things coming in, media. So the name has been changed to American Women in Media. They do a lot of great outreach in the community. In not just the broadcast and media world. I mean, taking that cluster of great women working in the industries, and then what can we do to serve the community? Not only in terms of what we do as broadcasters and media people, but what can we do to make the community a better place to live? So an outstanding organization.
Well, the only thing I'm wondering about, though, PT, you're doing that tonight. Room full of women. You'd probably be one of the only men there, and you don't have your wedding ring on.
I need... This is the truth. I need to have it resized because my hands have become so much more manly.
You gained 20 pounds, didn't you?
So much more. Shut up, Tom. Just go with what I'm saying. So much more meaty and manly because of all the manly work I do. Shut up, Tom. Yeah, that's why I'm not wearing it. So I got to get that rascal
resized. That's a 14 and a half, baby.
Oh, boy. Let me try that on. Let's see if I got to size that at 14 and a half. Let's see where I'm at. Nope, too big. You're more meaty. You're more meaty and manly than I, Tom Smith.
As my wife would say, there's more of me to love.
That's right, buddy. More of a huggable Tom there. Wrap your arms around me. I mean, if you can get all the way around.
Well, if you've seen the Michelin Man, you got me down.
That was just mean. What I just said. I'm so sorry. That was just mean. So Jackie Nelson here. 2 months back in the Twin Cities area?
Yes.
About that? Okay. Mm-hmm. So you move here from Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Again, 12 years before that in Los Angeles, working in television, film, things like that.
Yep.
And then in Pittsburgh doing something similar, same kind of gig,
Yep. Advertising.
Advertising, okay, cool. So you get back here, where are you renting?
Stillwater.
Okay.
I love Stillwater.
You like the community
too? Love it.
If we come out there and have too many beers, can we stay at your place?
Sure.
Jackie's house.
It's always coming back to beer with me. I got to just be clear. I love beer. I love chicken wings. I'm just an average kind of guy.
Yeah.
But you know what? You always got to be smart and play it safe, so I don't do dumb things. But I just want to say, And I love Stillwater. That's why it sucks because you go there and you can't have more than 2 or 3 because you got to drive.
You gotta
45
drive
minutes.
back.
So remember
Yeah.
this, Jack. You used the line. You remember my word. Anything Tom and beer, people, whatever. Exactly. So he said, can we come and stay?
Exactly.
All right. That's all you got to do. Are you in Stillwater, Seven Hills proper, or are you out on the outlying part of Stillwater
Actually,
a little
we're
more?
in Baytown Township.
Okay, great.
Oh, wow, that's a
lovely
nice
there.
area.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
those all the communities surrounding Stillwater, very nice. Whether you're going up to Marine, whether you're doing Baytown Township, Baytown, you're going down to Lakeland, any of those on that strip
It's
there.
beautiful, yeah.
Afton, of course, not too far away.
Yep.
So, is there a plan? I mean, do you want to go from being a renter to being a homeowner again here in the area?
We do, and in fact, the home that we're renting is a friend of mine's, and we're hoping that they'll let it go at some point because we love it. It's on
Okay.
2.5 acres of land. It's an older home, but it's got a lot of potential. And again, we like being very close to Stillwater because of all the great restaurants they've got down there and all the festivals they have in the summer. And it's close enough to the Twin Cities, but then it also has that land, and you get to get away a little bit.
And I think the quaintness of Stillwater is probably going to increase once the bridge is in. I mean, there'll still be enough traffic through there, but not the go through, I'm making my way across the river traffic. It's
Exactly.
going to be a little more nice that way.
Well, the nice thing in that area, too, I mean, when you talk about that location, you got Bayport, Afton, Baytown, St. Croix, like I said, pop over. You got Stillwater, you got Prescott on the other side,
Right,
too, not too
exactly.
far away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Hudson right across the river. There are all these little towns along the river, and they all, I mean, I have taste tested some food in some areas, too, not just beer.
Exactly.
Exactly.
There is a great restaurant in every one of those towns, and I have not had a bad meal in any one of those towns. And if you can find a place out there with 2.5 acres, older home, I would tell you jump all over it.
Yeah.
Because I know I would, especially where there was water by it.
Yeah. Well, we've got a pond in the backyard. It's
That's nice.
amazing. Yeah.
You got any critters? Any critters as a part of this narrative? I mean, so you got dog?
No pets.
Any horses? Do you got room for horses?
We could maybe have room for horses. There's a farmer's field directly in behind us. So
Okay.
we
I
don't
I was going
have
to say, because if
really
you want
neighbors.
the L&M up on Hayward where my cabin is, they're selling ducks, turkeys, chickens. I can bring a few back for you.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
our neighbors have chickens. 2 of our neighbors have chickens.
And I bet you're allowed where you're living
Sure.
to have probably do as much of that as you want.
Yep.
It's not a city covenant or restriction thing
Nope.
going on there. So you could do the beehive thing if you wanted. Again, just 2.5 acres,
Well,
a lot of
the
room
hen-
to play.
And the
No.
hens will lay eggs for 5 years, and then you got dinner.
And then exactly.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
And even those craggy old roosters, Coco Vine. Sorry about that, old Bucky Clucky. I'm sorry, but headless Bucky Clucky.
What's funny is we were at the L&M, and I'm looking. They call some of these guys broilers. Anyway,
Yeah,
whatever.
we know what we know what that means.
Anyway, I'm going somewhere else.
So Jackie, 2 months into renting, do you know if they're going to sell, or have you broached the subject at all with them?
We
or-
have broached the subject.
Okay.
We'll probably start having serious conversations after the first of the year.
Okay.
We know about what the range is that they're looking to sell it at.
Okay.
And so, yeah, at this point, my husband's interviewing, and I've got a full-time job as of just a couple of weeks ago. So
What's your husband do?
he is a development director by trade.
What does that mean?
Well, he basically does fundraising.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. So gotcha. So different, nonprofit organizations
Exactly.
mostly. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. And he did that. He's done that for a pretty good stretch here.
Yes. Yep.
All right. So he's looking for a gig.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a lot of great nonprofits here in the area. So
There
I don't know.
are.
Yeah.
I need some money. Can I be a nonprofit?
No, you are strictly for profit. And,
All right,
don't,
all right,
and don't forget it. Don't you forget it.
Well,
so he's got to get a gig, obviously, and get
He's gotta
something
get a gig.
established.
Yeah.
And is that important, Tom? I mean, both spouses being, pretty much gainfully employed for a stretch, for a month, 3
Well,
months,
yeah,
6
it
months,
helps. It always helps with both their play. As I'm listening here, I mean, she's obviously got something lined up out there where to start putting the game plan in play now makes a lot of sense because if you know the price they want for the house, you know what income you need, you know how much money you need, you know where your payment's going to be, you can start planning for it. And obviously, you want the extra income if you can, depending upon qualifying, how you qualify on your own because I don't know. I don't know the numbers, so I don't know. But
Right.
whenever you've got a married situation or 2 people buying together, you can use both incomes or just use one. And that's a cool thing about when you've got a married couple, especially. Let's say your husband's got bad credit, and your credit's immaculate, and you make enough money to qualify. Just take your husband off the loan, use your income, your credit, and your husband can still be entitled on the house.
Yeah,
Right.
there you go.
So those things like that. So, but I mean, if you definitely have talked to them and you've got some stuff, you want to start laying out that plan because you may know what you need, but you may not know what you need to do ahead of time. And it's always good to know what you need from the income standpoint, the cash investment, all that stuff. And I actually know some good loan officers that could help you.
Okay.
Now, why did your husband develop such poor credit?
Well,
How did yours stay so great?
well, you just see the car she drives.
It's amazing. It's just amazing.
Well, no, I mean that's not uncommon where you get these situations, and it's because mostly it's because one had a divorce or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But
And
you
these things
do
happen.
get that where they're paying their own bills. So the one of the two is not paying their bills on time, and one is, and one has bad credit. You got to take them off.
So now, what things might be, because you're friends with the people that own the place now,
Right.
And you don't want to diminish the friendship at all,
Right.
But might there be a plan where you can do a rent to own thing, or or a contract for deed thing? I mean, might there be that? And Tom, are there pitfalls and things to look forward to that could be advantageous or not, or That's what I'm asking. So, Jackie, you go first. Are there potentials there?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. I'd love to know your perspective on that. And also, you always heard in the past that 20% was a good percentage to have down based on...
We've talked about that time
Well,
and
she
again
brought
on
that
the
one up,
show.
didn't
Yeah,
you?
Because that's a myth. That's a
Is it
mortgage
myth?
myth.
Okay, good.
That's a
Yeah.
mortgage
So
myth.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Like, what's the best...
Well, I mean, I like rent to own. Actually, I like rent to own sometimes more over contract for deed, simply for the fact that it gives the individual that's looking at that property a chance to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, a lot of the rent to owns don't necessarily have a time period that they have to pay it or do it by. I mean, some do. Whereas a contract for deed, typically they're going to say, okay, we'll let you do this. You put X down. We're going to charge you an interest rate. The interest rate's usually higher than what the going rate is. Usually you're doing a contract for deed because you didn't have cash or you got bad credit. And then at some point in time, you got to pay the contract for deed off. Well, I happen to know somebody right now who's that's getting ready to happen to, and they're in a situation that they're not going to be able to because something just recently happened. So they're not going to be able to get financing. So the contract for deed is going to get called, and the people have already said they don't want to renew it. So they're not going to have an opportunity to get the property. So they're going to lose the money they put into
All
it
the
and
money they
everything.
put
Yep.
into that
Wow.
contract.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you talk about down payments, and like you said, the 20% thing. I mean, a lot of that depends upon the type of loan and a credit score. But typically, you can get into a house. Let's say it's a $330,000 mortgage or less. You can usually get into one of those for 3 to 3.5% down. $417,000 or less, depending upon credit, 3 to 5% down.
Okay.
Once you get over a 417 mortgage, you're definitely looking at 10 to 20% down. You're getting into a different area. But there are a lot of people that think 20% down. And I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because their moms and dads did it and they tell their kids that too. But it is a misnomer out there. And the other part is every loan is different.
Yeah.
So what this person did or that person did or that person did, it's going to be different for you.
And obviously,
Good to
the
know.
more money you put down, I mean, it goes with any kind of contract like that, financial
Right.
contract with payments over time. Your
Right.
payments are obviously going to be less.
Right.
All those factors come into play. And it bodes a little bit better for you, maybe in terms of rate. You put a little more money down, you get a little bit better rate because it demonstrates more financial solvency on your part as well.
Look, a perfect example, we just had a borrower close, and they were going to put 5% down. It was a conventional loan. They had okay credit, and you still have mortgage insurance. And he's like, oh, man, that payment's high, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, if you go 10% down, the payment's going to drop to this. And because of your score, your interest rate's going to improve a little bit, so your overall payment's going to drop there too. Well, he had the money in his 401 that he was going to pull the money out, so he pulled the extra money out, put 10% down, and his payment worked right where he wanted it to be. So he paid less on the mortgage insurance, he paid less on the interest rate, overall payment was less, and he was happy.
And so took a loan against the 401k.
Yep.
When you take a loan with your 401k to put into a home, it's a whole different set of rules than taking money out of your 401k on a loan that you would need to use to do other things with. Am I right?
Right, and some of the guidelines now have changed to the fact that 401k loans aren't even being counted against borrowers
There you
anymore
go.
because they're paying themselves back.
Right.
So that's kind of nice, and it's pre-tax. But when you do, let's say you want to buy a house, a lot of the 401ks will actually have a program where you can pull money out and it's not taxed or anything like that because you're using it for a house.
Yep.
Or you can do the loan, or you can do an actual withdrawal where and I don't see it very often, where you take the penalty, that's because you're taking more than you need for the house.
Yeah.
Because what they'll do is if you're buying a house and you need $5,000, they want to see something that says, okay, you need $5,000, not just so you take 20. But it's a great way. I mean, it's a great way to be able to finance a home because it's not costing you anything in many cases.
Well, but except for the time where you may be taking out more than you
Right,
need,
and you pay yourself
then
back.
and then you're getting a penalty hit.
And
So
you're paying yourself back at a lower interest rate than you can borrow anywhere.
Right.
So, I mean, you're
Right.
actually saving money doing it that way.
So yeah, kind of look around on the asset pool. I mean, 401ks or other retirement funds that you may be able to access to put that money down. Then you're paying off that loan, and then you're paying off your mortgage. But if you take the cumulative amount that the mortgage would could be without enough money down, as Tom says. The numbers might work out that your whole overall aggregate payment, mortgage and loan payment on the 401k or investment from that might be less because you were able to do that. You know, that you were able to put more down, get a better interest rate. Your guys' income as an aggregate works. And so, yeah, I mean, it as Tom will say, it's just all malleable. You got to move the pieces on the playing field.
I call it a jigsaw puzzle.
There you
I
go.
really
Yeah,
do,
that's
because,
what it is.
I mean, one of the first things I would do, if Jackie, I mean, if you guys wanted to do something, we'd sit down and I'd go. The first thing we do is we just fill out the application, which is basic information. We'd pull credit. The next part is we ask, okay, where do you want to be? What are you looking at trying to do? So we figure out what your constraints are that you want to do, and then we look at the constraints that you're actually going to fall into to make sure you're inside of them and not outside of them. And then we figure out a plan based on what it is you want to do, based on what you have or what you don't have or where you're at or where you need to be. I mean, it really is a jigsaw puzzle, and there is a plan to it in place. But ironically, it's not the same for everybody because everybody's at a different point when they start than somebody else. Couple I met with last night, great couple. They've owned a home for 5 years. Perfect. But their credit stunk. So now we've got to redo their credit so that when they sell their house, they can buy. That's going to take a year, but they're going to do it.
Yeah. So and they'll need a game plan in place to take care of that rebuild, but they'll reach a certain threshold where their numbers are going to be good on the credit score, and then away you go. But it's going to be a plan.
It's a plan. And so
Yeah.
we sit down, we do a plan with these people if there's bad credit, things like that, or if you're trying to save money or whatever it is, we figure out the constraints and figure it out.
Just like Jackie's going to need a plan.
Together.
So anyhow, you give her your email address through the microphone so that we can remind folks what your email address
I
is.
wrote it on her arm.
And Jackie tattooed it.
That's
She's
right.
really got faith in you. Wow.
Well, email is tom.smith@amec, AMECINC.org. And AMEC stands for American Mortgage and Equity Consultants Incorporated.
Very good, my friend. It's Mortgages and BS with Tom Smith and yours truly, BT, and Jackie Nelson, our special guest today. So, Jackie, like I said at the outset of the show, little game plan maybe is already formulating in your head.
Yep.
You get in touch with Tom if you feel you're at that place already or when you're ready. But let's check in with you 3 months. I'm thinking quarterly, let's just, because that's the way the financial world works, in general quarters and, fiscals and all this. So let's check in with you in another 3 months. I mean, whether you've made a whole lot of progress or not, we'll just get a gauge on where your head is at, and maybe you'll be thinking about something different. Maybe another beautiful home in Stillwater with an acre, not 2.5, will come up, or who knows what. So, sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a great plan.
Good luck on your new job too, Jackie.
Thank you so much. Pleasure
She
to
signs
meet
the
you.
checks, doesn't she?
Well, then, really, best of luck.
We will get
on
you
your
a
new
very
job.
good deal.
All right, so Miss Shannon Paul joining us next week. Again, we'll do more or less the same sort of thing, but she's got a whole different set of circumstances than Jackie does. So we'll check with Shannon, get an idea and a gauge on where she's at. She's renting now in Crystal, Minnesota. I know she wants to stay there for a while, get her finances a little more squared away.
And she's going back and forth on the pros between renting and owning.
Yep.
So we had a conversation already a little bit about that.
Yep, so we'll cover that with Miss Shannon next week. And Tom and I will be back for another edition of the Mortgages and BS Show with Shannon on the week ahead. Tommy, good to see you, my friend, as always.
BT, great seeing you. I think let's go to the Chart House. What do you think, Jackie?
Sounds good.
What are we
I'm
going to
there.
have there, beer?
Beer, wings.
Exactly. Come on, let me hear it with me, Jackie.
Exactly.
Should I just start saying exactly instead of the word beer?
We will see you next week.